Welcome to Ha Class. Today we present a new story about one of the artistic topics from the history of art. Let's enjoy together one of history of art class.
John Frederick Lewis. London, July 14, 1804 – August 15, 1876. Was an English Orientalist painter. He specialized in Oriental and Mediterranean scenes in detailed watercolor or oils, very often repeating the same composition in a version in each medium. He lived for several years in a traditional mansion in Cairo, and after his return to England in 1851, he specialized in highly detailed works showing both realistic genre scenes of Middle Eastern life and more idealized scenes in upper-class Egyptian interiors with little apparent Western influence. His very careful and loving representation of Islamic architecture, furnishings, screens, and costumes set new standards of realism, which influenced other artists, including the leading French Orientalist painter Jean-Élian Gérôme in his later works. Unlike many other Orientalist painters who took a salacious interest in the women of the Middle East, he never painted a nude, and his wife modeled for several of his harem scenes. John grew up in an artistic family. His father was Frederick Christian Lewis, 1779 to 1856, an engraver and landscape painter, whose German father had moved to England and changed his name from Ludwig. The leading bookbinder Charles Lewis was John Frederick's uncle, and his younger brothers, another Frederick Christian and Charles George Lewis, were also artists, the latter mainly in reproductive engraving, especially after Edmund Landseer, 1802 to 1873, a childhood neighbor and friend of John Frederick. Lewis and Landseer trained together in the workshop of Sir Thomas Lawrence. Initially Lewis, like Landseer, was an animal painter, and he often included animals throughout his later works. In particular a pet gazelle he had in Cairo. He published prints of the big cats in 1826, and 12 domesticated animals in 1826, and painted 2 large scenes with animals in Windsor Great Park. Lewis toured Europe in 1827, the year he began to paint in watercolor. Then traveled to Spain and Morocco between 1832 and 1834. The drawings he made were turned into lithographs by him and other artists, and published as sketches and drawings of the Alhambra, made during a residence in Granada in the years 1833–1835, and Lewis's sketches of Spain and Spanish character 1836. For a while he became known as Spanish Lewis, to distinguish him from Indian Lewis, his brother Frederick Christian, who went India in 1834 before dying young. Though Lewis 10 years behind David Wilkie in Spain, and though David Roberts, who became the other leading British Orientalist, mainly through his lithographs, was in Spain and the Middle East at the same time. No other English artist of the period had such a sustained period in what was then the Ottoman Empire as Lewis did on his last period abroad.
هو أحد فناني أوروبا القلائل الذين قدموا صورة موضوعية عن حياة الإنسان الشرقي. عايش المصريين خلال 10 سنوات كاملة، تمثل بهيئاتهم، واختار لنفسه منزلا على الطراز العربي. علاوة على ذلك فقد كانت صورة المرأة الشرقية لديه تعكس حسا أرستقراطيا محتشما، بعيدا عن تلك الصورة الحسية التقليدية في أعمال نظرائه في المدرسة الفرنسية. عكس استخدامه للألوان المائية رقة وتأثرا حقيقيا بمدارس التصوير الإسلامي. هو جون فريدريك لويس، المستشرق البريطاني الذي كان مغرما بالشرق في صورته العربية، فجاءت أعماله تعكس موضوعية النظرة وواقعية التناول ورقة الإحساس الكامن في العمل الفني.